Looking good. Well, let's talk about Bitcoin a little bit more. Um, MicroStrategies bought another $1 billion worth of Bitcoin at an average price of 52,765, and that was today. Um, or they at least announced it today, but it was, them buying $1 billion at that price. Um, I'd say that's a good sign that, uh, this bull run is not over. Um, and here is Michael Saylor on CNBC just talking about about Bitcoin and the correction here.
Michael, I read a really interesting piece yesterday, just in terms of how we might be looking at this a little bit wrong. Those of us who follow stocks and know about reversions to the mean, that this is different because the mean that you're going to be reverting to is constantly growing. It's happening as all of these new companies, new investors are kind of buying into that. So the mean itself, the line is one that's moving pretty sharply higher. You agree with that theory?
The most important thing to understand about Bitcoin is a bank in cyberspace for people that don't have the ability to run their own hedge fund. It's not a stock. It's an asset class. And so, if I put $1 billion into a bank and then came back a year later and I put another $10 billion in the bank is not overvalued by a factor of 10. The bank is just 10 times bigger. People are using Bitcoin to store their monetary energy for the long term. And so the price is a reflection of the monetary energy in this bank in cyberspace.
Hey, Michael, I just wanted to go back to a question about your holdings of Bitcoin personally and potentially the holdings of members of the board or executives in the management team. And the reason I raise this is I think there's a lot of companies now that are thinking about buying into Bitcoin, and yet there are employees and or board members who are either own Bitcoin already or buying in knowing perhaps that their company is going to buy Bitcoin. How you think about that from a legal perspective, because historically, if one company was going to effectively buy another company, it would actually be considered either illegal insider trading or just a breach of the fiduciary duty, because effectively you'd be taking advantage of corporate information.
Okay, well, the first thing to note is that Bitcoin is property. It's not a security. And that's a very critical idea. Property means you can own a house or you can own land, and your company can also buy land. With regard to public companies, the key is to make sure that you have adequate disclosure of all your holdings that might be viewed as a conflict of interest. And so you can be sure that I went to great lengths to adequately disclose to every member of the board the exact extent of my Bitcoin holdings before we even started to deliberate this. You see, Bitcoin is the most widely held investment asset in the world right now. We have congressmen, we have senators, we have members of government, we have CEOs, we have 100 million individuals out there that have it. You're going to find that lots and lots of people have this property. I think that whenever you're running an institution, be it a charity, an endowment, a government institution, a corporation, the key is to make sure that you're very transparent in your holdings before you enter into deliberation that might impact that company.
Right. It's $1 trillion. So, I mean, there's stocks that are $1 trillion. I'm trying to figure out what type of total market cap you'd need until you wouldn't ask that question anymore, Michael. I mean, people with gold, if a company decides it wants to put its treasuries in gold, I don't think they'd ask the CEO, oh, did you buy some, you're going to move the entire gold market, but it's a much bigger market. But I'm wondering if there's a number where you don't ask that question, where it becomes actually a, would you worry if you went out the yield curve on bonds, or if you went into corporates on your treasury? Would you have to make sure that people on that were at the company weren't buying corporates in the meantime? I don't know. What do you think the number is? At $1 trillion, you could still almost make the case you can move that.
There's a $500 trillion monetary planet, and the outer layer is currency. Then you've got stocks, bonds, real estate. There's $10 trillion worth of gold in there, 1 trillion in Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is going to flip gold, and it's going to subsume the entire gold market cap. Then it's going to subsume negative yielding sovereign debt and other monetary indexes until it grows to $100 trillion. Once it gets to 10 trillion, its volatility will be dramatically less. And as it marches toward 100 trillion, you're going to see the growth rates fall, the volatility fall, and it's going to be a stabilizing influence in the entire financial system of the 21st century.
Hey, Michael, I read a really
Yeah, so basically what he's saying is that, Bitcoin is a store of value, and at some point, everyone in the world and many companies are going to want or hold or already hold some Bitcoin. It is far better than gold as far as being a finite supply, as far as being able to be transferred in seconds and minutes instead of, you can't ship a bar of gold across the world in a minute. So it's just better in every aspect. It's the digital form of gold, and they're trying to say, isn't it insider trading because Michael Saylor owns Bitcoin and now he's having his company MicroStrategy buy another billion, which they're saying will most likely make the price go up, which will help his own personal growth. But his point is that it's not a stock, it's an asset, and companies are allowed to own assets, and he has disclosed how much Bitcoin he has to everyone, all of the shareholders, and I guarantee you they're not upset about what he's bought with his Bitcoin. Or how he's invested Bitcoin into their company, because their company's stock has risen dramatically over the past couple years. And in saying that, Square, they own the Cash App, they just bought another 170 million worth of Bitcoin themselves. And not only that, but over 1 million people on Cash App have bought Bitcoin since they allowed buying of cryptocurrency on Cash App. So yeah, I think this is just reaffirming the idea that this bull run isn't over. You don't have to be so scared of what's going to happen because we had a dip. This is completely normal, and we just have to wait and see how long it takes for us to kind of move again, get Bitcoin moving again. So let's check back in on Bitcoin, and then we'll go through some of these altcoins here. There we go. And yeah, we're about at $48,700. And what you want to see, this is the hourly chart, but we want to see on the 4-hour chart the trend changing. So, you know, basically having a higher low from 45,200 would be good. You know, we're looking the low here made a higher high, and then we want the 4-hour to have a turnaround and go up even higher before it hits 45,300. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if we just kind of range around this area, sometimes break up, sometimes break down a little bit. But right now, I don't see anything to worry about. We have held here for now over a day pretty nicely. Let's check in on Ethereum. So Ethereum's kind of doing a similar similar pattern to Bitcoin. One big, you know, one big thing with Ethereum though is that you know, Bitcoin's all-time high was 20,000, and it's past that and doubled that and almost tripled that. But Ethereum, if you're looking at this on a bigger term, this is 2017. We came all the way through the bear market and then came up and finally broke past our all-time high of around 1,400. Okay. And now what we're doing, let's bring this to the weekly. If you look at this on the weekly, we came up, we made, you know, obviously a higher high, and now we are and now we came back down and made support on that, which is what we want to see. You want to see breaking through and then coming back down. We made support on our previous all-time high. So though Ethereum took a really big dip here, making support here just kind of gives some reassurance that we're probably going to bounce off this and, you know, continue to go up. This held very well, and you know, Ethereum's going to move just like Bitcoin, unless Bitcoin kind of takes a break. If as long as Bitcoin doesn't have any drastic moves, I could see Ethereum, you know, gaining ground on Bitcoin. And we could take a look at the Bitcoin to Ethereum pairing. Which over the last couple days has actually, or the last day has come up, and we're made a little. We might be able to change the hourly. This is a 2-hour, but we might be able to change the hourly trend change here if we can kind of pick this back up and keep heading up. So so we'll see what happens with that. Um, and just taking a look, this is the dollar index. And if the dollar continues its pattern since March, going down, that will most likely be really good for crypto and stocks and assets like gold and silver. So we'll see what happens. But it's holding a little bit here, but most likely it looks like it's the overall trend has not changed. Hello, Ali. What do you mean by bear? Am I bearish on what exactly overall? I am very bullish on the overall market, if that's what you're talking about, and on Bitcoin. I'm even more bullish on altcoins right now. Litecoin has not been able to catch back up with Bitcoin. Normally, a lot of people thought this is the Litecoin Bitcoin chart. A lot of people thought this was going to change here, but the trend has stayed the same, and now we're making the lowest low that Litecoin has had in years. So hopefully that can turn around for Litecoin. Let's look at the so Litecoin's still in this channel, this rising wedge here. So we'll see if it can hold support there and hopefully go back up and make a higher high eventually. But it did take quite a big dip over the past couple days from the Bitcoin drop. Let's take a look at Engine, because I know some of you are interested in that. So we looked at Engine 2 days ago, I believe, and you can see it did lose support here, but we were able to come back up into this channel over the past 24 hours, and as soon as we closed a candle above that 4-hour candle, we came up and then came back down and hit that support perfectly. So looks like we're coming down again, but if this turns around here, then we'll be making a higher low compared to here. So hopefully we can do that and stay in here and move higher. But if you were going to buy engine, anywhere down here would have been a good time to do that. Not financial advice, but I think that's a lower price, that's the lowest price it's been in quite a while. So this is Binance Coin, and a lot of retail traders have been going to Binance for crypto trading, and they have the Binance Smart Chain and Pancake Swap. So a lot of traders have been going there because there's lower fees than Uniswap right now, but we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I had a nice Binance kind of stayed, came back down and made support on the previous channel it was in. So this looks really good. It didn't take quite as big of a hit as a lot of the other coins. We'll see if it stays in this channel, and as it gets closer over the next couple days, see if it breaks out. I would be very surprised if it broke down, because even with the Bitcoin drop, it wasn't able to break through this support. Very similar with Aave. Here is synthetics, which is making higher highs, higher lows. Trying to get back up into this channel here. Let me know if there's any coins you want to check out. Okay, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it here today. And we will keep an eye on everything and check back on how Bitcoin does tomorrow and see if the Bitcoin dominance level falls at all. But thanks for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow.